I'm going to have to put my glasses on, although it bloody puts a glare on my face. So basically, if this is the first time you're seeing Annika, is that right? So if you're new to the Wednesday Waffle, or you haven't seen one before, basically, in short, I quite like that. I speak about what has been going on in the business this week. There we go, Annika. Good day, how are you? Ruth has literally just walked in the door, put the YouTube camera up, and she's now she's now going to start dinner. Usually I have dinner waiting for her when she gets back from the gym. But yeah, so the purpose of the Wednesday Waffle, for those new, just while a couple of people join on, then I'll get started, is to talk about what's been going on in the business this week. See if I turn it off. There we go. What's been going on in the business this week? What's been going on? Because I think certainly when I did the first one, the feedback was, hello Lee, mate. The feedback was that people like hearing, what's going on behind the scenes. So that is the Wednesday Waffle. And just quickly before we get started as well, in the run up to payday and after the first week, everything's getting adjusted. So there's a welcome 10 discount code live on the website now. So let's without further ado, I suppose we'll get started. And to say it has been an up-down week would be a massive bloody understatement. And I suppose with the worst news coming today, which is pretty much, all my plans over the next sort of 18 months have totally been just ripped to shreds and thrown in the bin from the email I got earlier on today. But hello Scott, hello Mike, hello Thomas, Andy, how the devil, Ethan, how you doing? Danny, Dana, thank you all for joining. Again, like I always say, engagement is massive on these things, so just putting a random little emoji in the chat or just a like really helps. But let's, although I got some terrible bloody news today, let's focus on some of the positives to get started. So I had some really good news. So since the last Wednesday Waffle, Thursday, I went up to Birmingham. I went up there to source some Suffolk lamb's wool. Hello Ed, Tony, how the devil, how you all doing? So found a factory up in Birmingham that had Suffolk lamb's wool and then some boiled wool as well, which is like a really lovely maroon colour. Because certainly when I first did these, I had that first sample of the maroon gilet, which people quite liked. But that quality just wasn't right. And I later found out through some clever descriptions on the website, you were led to believe that everything was British made. It is actually, they sent it to Britain and then they did all the packaging. They did the embroidery and some other little touch-up works. But anyway, regardless. So went up to Birmingham, and quite annoyingly, the fabric factory is at the direct other side of Birmingham to where the factory that makes the gilets is, where I was going after that. So I went there, and the guy kind of seemed to be sort of not off with me, but just kind of like not really interested. And when I got speaking to him and telling him what the whole brand's about, what I'm doing, he actually became really receptive and then was like showing me other stuff and talking to me about the difficulties of being a fabric supplier in the UK. Good day, all of you that are joining. So that was really positive. And it was weird that I'm from Suffolk. Well, I was actually born in West Yorkshire, brought up in Middlesbrough, and then matured to a fine taste in Suffolk. But I had to go all the way to Birmingham to get Suffolk lamb's wool. And then we went over to the other side of Birmingham. And side note, Birmingham didn't look that dirty. I don't know if anyone's been watching any of the news or anything, but yeah, it didn't look that dirty. So God knows. But yeah. So went over to see Pav. We took up the 2 types of Harris tweed that I'm going to be using on the back of the collars for the Suffolk lamb's wool and the maroon wool gilets that we're having done. And then we spoke about some of the fabrics for the rider cut jacket. And I'll speak again about this a bit more in detail on the next part. But so some of the sponsored riders are going to be trialling out the rider cut jackets throughout the sort of wet parts of the summer, which we can absolutely guarantee are coming after sort of the last day or so when it's been hammering it down. Hello Jarv, hello Alina, how you doing? Matty, how the devil? I wonder if that is the Jarv. Anyway, so yeah, so that was, it was quite productive, and it was good to go back to the factory having had the first order of gilets, see all the ladies on the factory floor and the gentlemen, the seamstresses. I don't know what the male phrase would be. Mister? I don't know, seamstress. Anyone know that? What is the... Because seamstress, I always... is a female machinist. I don't know what a... regardless. Lee, mate, you are sound. You don't need to keep liking it, brother. Thank you so much, though. So yeah, anyway, so I sort of, did a little video in the factory, had about an hour and a bit's meeting with Pav, he's the third owner of the factory. His granddad started it, his dad then took it over, and then now he runs the place. And he is bloody brilliant. So that was actually a really productive meeting. We got the extra large and the double XL getting organised at the factory there. And then, which, sort of came tumbling down a little bit today, but that's not the factory's fault. That's just realities of manufacturing, but we'll talk about that at the end. And then after that, I then hightailed it from Birmingham down to Worcester to meet a young jockey that is going to be the first sponsored amateur jockey for the Lockwood brand. And why I chose him, basically I got referred to him by a friend sort of about a year ago, who said, this guy's after some sponsorship, it might be something quite interesting for you. And we'd had some conversations, of which some plans didn't quite pan out. But then, I got hold of him again, worked out what the costings. Oh, is it really? Seamster. Interesting. I keep going on about seamstress, mate. So seamster is the male.
I thought it'd be seaman.
Ruth just said I thought it'd be seaman. But yeah, seamster. Interesting. So yeah, at least I know that now. But yeah, so went and met this, I almost said his bloody name. I did this last week when I was talking about someone. I didn't want to say the name and I said the first name. But yeah, so went and met him, and he will be out. So why I chose an amateur jockey anyway. Firstly, I met him about a year ago. He seemed really interested, and then it just kind of wasn't right at the time. And then having then spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, we sort of worked out a deal where I can sponsor him, and he's going to be championing the brand. It's going to look smart. I'm really looking forward to announcing that this weekend, hopefully. So an amateur jockey, why? I'm very much an emerging brand. Good day. I wonder. Who are you? If you don't want to say on there, someone's just on TikTok's just wrote Lockheed. So I'm just, I wonder who that is. I'm back in that British manufacturing. I'm solely focusing, and you can call me out on this in 10, 15, 20 years time. I will always solely be British made. But right now I am, and I support grassroots charities. You know, I donate a cut of the profits to Ebony Horse Club in London, and I've got some quite interesting charities that I'm going to be backing in the future, that are just doing good for British people, you know, at the bottom of the ladder that need a hand. So it sort of felt right that my first sponsored riders would be those at the almost grassroots level, amateur level, people that ain't got massive amount of money, that are just grafting their asses off every day of the week to be able to work with horses. And Billy really is a shining... Oh my God, I've just fucking bloody said his name. But he is a shining example. I mean, I've given it away a bit there, but you don't know his last name. But yeah, he's a shining example. He grafts like hell. So I'm going to be sponsoring him, and he was the last stop on me down Thursday. And then Friday, me and me lass, she's just stood there right now. We basically, after the week of flying all over the place, we decided to just take... Ed, don't tell him I bloody slipped his name, for the love of God. So on Instagram there's a guy, Ed, he's good friends with him, and I've just let the cat out the bag slightly. But no one knows his last name. Don't bloody write on there, for God's sake, Ed, mate. Yeah, so Friday had a bit of a chilled day, and then just kind of got on top of admin work, emails and stuff, you know, messages that I need to follow up on, and just the boring side of it. You know, I love getting out to the factories. I love meeting these people. I love getting into the nooks and crannies of the new designs. I love speaking to basically you people. Doing this, I love it. But the more technical side of stuff does my head in. But it's a necessary evil. So hey ho. So Friday was spent doing a bit of that and having a couple of jars with me lass. And then Saturday and Sunday I was back into the day job, and after a week off, having to go back to the grind of commuting into Knightsbridge, oh my God, it was a pain in the backside. But hey ho. And then yeah, so there's a guy, Skip Embroidery. You can find him on Instagram. He has been doing all the embroidery work. So I've had a load of saddle pads done for the 2 event riders. Lucy Lloyd is obviously that first announced event rider, and then quite an exciting another young event rider, who again, I actually met her through the same person that introduced me to the Jockey. And you know, she's been following the brand right from the beginning. I really like what she's getting up to, and you know, bit like Billy, you know, she doesn't come from massive amount of money and is grafting all the time. So I thought I saw D Mason on her live, but anyway, yeah, she's an absolute grafter, and you know, she's just a sound little lass. So she's going to be getting announced in the next couple of weeks also. So the team Lockwood will consist of 3 riders, a male amateur jockey and 2 female event riders. Still looking for a dressage rider and a show jumper, because I was going to be sponsoring a military guy, and yeah, I'm still trying to see if I can make it work, but through army policies and things like that, and licensing and it's looking like it might not be possible, but I'm still working on it. But yeah, so Skip was doing all the embroidery, getting me jump pads, excuse me, jump pads and jump pads and well, basically close contact cut saddle pads, and then the dressage straight cut pads embroidered, and then doing all the jockey kit for that guy whose name I slipped out. We then also, as a brand, got approached by an e-commerce. Sorry, I'm just going to wet me whistle with some water. Excuse me. Got told off by TikTok a few weeks ago because a bottle of a sparkling adult beverage was in the background, and it said that it was going to ban me. So I'm really careful not to put anything like that on the social medias. So where was I? Right, so got contacted by an e-commerce webs like specialist people, and they basically told us some sort of bits to change on the website to make things. Hello, Mark, mate, how are you? Some bits to change on. So when I've been going live and talking about the streamlining of the website, that basically all came from them. And I've had quite a few of these sort of companies reach out to me. And then after speaking to them a bit, it just doesn't really seem right. But we had the meeting with this company, and I just said to them straight from the beginning, look, we're not turning over masses amount at the moment. We're very much just starting. Our margins aren't great because we're fully British made. And they kind of gave us some little pointers, and then just says, look, we'll check back in a month, and then we'll check back in 6 months, see how you're getting on, help you out for absolutely nothing until you're at a point where we can work with you. So they are really bloody brilliant, actually. So they spoke to us, me and Jay, my guy that does the website stuff, who's very much very close to being a signed on partner in the company. It's just a case of getting him up here. But they spoke to us and they were brilliant, really. And then my business mentor, who I met last week, I had a first proper phone call with her while I was driving up to Birmingham on the hands-free, of course. And sort of she's given me a big checklist to get sorted before our first session in a week or two. Monday coming, yeah. No, it's not.
Monday after that.
Oh, the Monday after that, right, okay. Yeah. Thank God Ruth's here. But yeah, so that's all that. So then, the bad news of today, really. I'd sort of finished for the morning, and Ruth sat here staring at me now. So the fabrics that I went and bought in Birmingham last week, the company have then come back to so it needs to get basically put back to back and laminated is what it's called. So it's then the two fabrics are fixed back to back, which is when I spoke about the cost being doubled, because I wanted that nice fabric inside and outside, not just one-sided. They've basically come back and says, look, we can't do anything less than 10 metres. So the two rolls of 2 metres that I bought are basically useless. So, that was sort of 50, 60 quid wasted, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up. But what that does mean is I need to buy 10 metres of each, pay to have that laminated, and then Pav's really working with me and charging me not the sample price, but the higher price for this small amount. But basically all this equates to about a £600 cost to get a sample of the XL and the double XL, but I will end up then with sort of 4 or 5 of each. But yeah, so as I was going to lunch, I got hit with a message that basically said, oh yeah, you need to front up £600. So, getting me dinner in the mess, I was already a bit done in. And then as I sat down, my phone pinged and I got an email. The email, so in September I was hoping to have the Montgomerys, the Metropolitans, the Churchill Poacher, which will have a poacher's pocket in it, fully taped seams, because as waterproof as they bloody are, You know, someone got hold of me and said after 7 to 10 hours exposure, they're a bit wet through the shoulders. But you know, that double rubberized membrane makes them absolutely flipping watertight. But having the seams taped, it just gives it that, you know, that final barrier of protection. So yeah, and then changing the buttons to rivets, well, popper style rivets. Love your content, keep pushing, dude. Thank you, Seamus, mate. And then having the Brecon trousers done is basically going to add about over £30,000 to my projected order for September. And the reason that is, whenever a design change happens, so I, you know, naively thought, well, all we want to do is change the buttons. But with any product, when you have a tech pack done, you get the digital design. So each of the tech packs for each of the sizes needs to be adjusted. Yeah, cheers, they're smart, isn't there? There's a couple of them still available, and we should have a big uplift in the next month or so. But it's each individual design then needs to be gone in and altered. How that's done, I don't know, but from what I understand, it's quite technical. But then equally, basically the R&D lady Katie writes out basically an instruction manual for each product that I send. So new products, a whole new instruction manual needs to be written. So the seamstresses and not the Siemens, the seamsters basically have an instruction manual of how to make the garment. So any adaptation, so thinking about the Churchill poacher with the poacher pouch in the back, Katie then needs to first implement that, make a sample, implement it, put the change in, and then work out where in the design process that part of the jacket gets done. And then the whole instruction manual needs to be rearranged. Well, not the whole thing, but parts of it. And each time this is accruing hours of her work. But clearly they're a business. So it's not just, I just get the base rate. It's the base rate plus a bit. Because, hello, Artemis. Sorry, I didn't see your message there. They're only £120 for a fully British made fleece Gilet. They're made up in Birmingham. But all the details are on the website, and there's the welcome 10 discount code on there at the moment. But yeah, so it's actually quite a bloody big process of just changing the design. So, and then there's the sourcing of the fabrics. I've changed some bits on the hem and the waist fastenings. So yeah, so all the changes that I wanted to do, as well as bringing in the Brecon trousers. So I've got the tech pack done, but to get to a point where I've got the tech pack of all the different sizes, so small, medium, large, extra large, double XL, I currently have the tech pack for the medium. So I need to pay the fee to have each of the extra sizes graded, which is £150 each. And then I've got that tech pack. So we're talking, you know, what, £600 in tech pack fees from the company in London, and then it needs to go to the factory, to the R&D lady Katie, who then builds the instruction manual. All of this is accruing hours, and you know, that's the difference with a British manufacturer to a Chinese manufacturer. They just flip and knock them out. And if there's any mistakes, it doesn't matter, because, you know, these big companies, if there's anything that's going wrong with it, loose threads, anything like that, if you can be bothered, you'll get hold of them, they'll just send you a new one. Whereas they have absolute, you know, that top quality right from the start. And any issues, it's back to the factory, the design gets changed, and they're making it right, sort of thing. So with doing the full new design spec for the Brecon trousers and all the changes that I wanted to make for, the small changes, and then adding in tweed lined hoods. It's sort of accruing up to a nearly £30,000 increase on my projected order. So I'm basically having to slow down. The Montgomerys, I wanted them to be out in September. It's looking like they probably won't come out. I wanted about 200 to 250 units of the Brecon. That's probably going to have to get cut in half. The Brecon trousers I wanted to be out in September. That's probably not going to happen, because my first order I wanted to order 50, and from my cost analysis since lunchtime to now, I've worked out that if I order 50, I will probably, and that's if I sell every single pair, I will run at about a £7,500 loss on that first order. So it's just not viable at all at this point. So that so where we were looking at going to Blenheim Palace, 250 Brecons on the website, sort of 50 of the flat caps, 250 of the gilets, the rest of the 1 to 50 numbered Churchills and Metropolitans, a range of the Churchill poachers, and then a range of the first seal numbered Churchills with the tweed hats, tweed lined hoods. We're now going to be looking at, we'll only have probably 35 of the Churchills, maybe 40 of the other Churchills, 35 Arnhems, maybe 100 Gilets, maybe 150. We'll still have the 50 flat caps. But yeah, so it was pretty shit. But I then got in my van, drove out of London, pretty flipping defeated. And then I got a phone call from a lady called Jane, Plain Jane, who did the first samples of these, which I was thinking I was working at a £600 loss on, because the sampling fee, the tech packs of all this and the other polo, it worked out as about £600 with fabrics and all that sort of stuff. And then I kind of got ghosted a little bit by her, or as I thought. I sent the tech packs to a couple of companies. The files were corrupted. So basically I was left with corrupted files that couldn't be opened and 2 polo tops at a cost of £600. And I was like, well, it was like 586 or something, but I was like, brilliant. And then she rang me and says, look, because we had agreed that we weren't going to be able to do business, I archived your messages, so I wasn't getting everything through, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, and she basically says, look, it's probably because we sent the tech packs over WhatsApp and iMessage, so I'll email them to you and I can print out the patterns and get them sent to your manufacturer in Birmingham, and get it that way. And I was like, right, brilliant, okay, cool. And she was like, but also we're doing a run of 2,500 polos in our London factory, and we'll probably be able to put your order onto the back of that and you'll get the same price as the 2,000 unit price. I was like, wow, brilliant. So she said she's going to be messaging me back at some point tonight. And if I know Jane, it's probably going to be around 11 o'clock to midnight till I hear from her. But yeah, so these polos, keep an eye on the website, because these are going to be coming up for sale very... hello, Glenn, mate. Oh, God, I've just missed all of this. I'll answer... Okay, sorry. So Artemis, Glenn, I'll answer your questions in the next few minutes. Sorry. So basically, what was two pretty rubbish bits of news ended with quite a good bit of news, in that in the next couple of weeks, by tonight, I should have an answer of how much these are going to cost me and how soon I can have them. And the only change I'm going to be making is the guardsman is probably going to get shrunk to about half the size, and then it'll still have the branding in the dark lettering on the back, so it's not in your face, and this lovely 300 gram cotton. On my drive back, I'd had to just keep telling myself, you know, take the bad news, work out the plan, analyse it, and then take action. And I was sort of still in my... I'd got over me take the bad news phase, and I was very much in my analyse phase of, right, how can I fix this? What can I do? Where can I get money from? What can I cut? What do I need for basically mission success in September? And then I got that phone call, which was just a good bit of news, really. So these should be on the website in the next week or two. So I'll just go back to some of the... So and then the final bit of good news, my fiance got me these Lockwood Premium British Smocks. What would you even call this?
Diary, dear.
Diary, thank you, not calendar notebook. This diary, because basically I just get my days mixed up all the time. And then a new notebook as well, because at the minute I'm using a Guards Polo Club notebook, but it's also got notes from ALD.
Lock harness, probably.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff in there. So we've got a notebook and a diary, which is great.
They're more for me to keep track of what you're doing.
Yeah. She says it's more for me to keep track of what we're doing. So that's the week in a nutshell. So if you've got any questions, please start firing them on, and I'll answer them as we're going. So that first message. So Artemis, you should do construction wear. Engelbert Strauss is killing it right now. So the thing with construction wear, calendar notebook. Thing with construction wear, it has to meet. If it's something that's going to be worn on a construction site, I found this out with one of my first smocks, the Glastonbury. It has to meet certain... we're still governed by some EU safety laws as well as British safety laws. So for high-vis clothing, the standards that it needs to meet is EN 1150. And without really getting into the weeds of it, you're talking sort of $4,000 to get a jacket or trousers or hat or whatever certified as EN 1150. And then each year you need to basically send product to them to get tick in the box, it's still safe. And you don't get them products back because they destroy them. And it's not just one, it's a small batch. So to get something for construction wear, you're talking, you know, $4 or $5,000, and the price of these, you know, the price of these smocks, we're talking $5.5, maybe $6,000 just to get them to market. And then we're talking another $2.5, $3, $4,000 each year just to keep that license going. So right now we're just not at that place yet. Glenn, how the devil? So yeah, like I said, they will be hopefully being put on pre-order as soon as I get the thumbs up. Right, you can have them at this price. This is what the logo will look like. This is your delivery date. Pay us the money and we can confirm that. They will go straight on the website for pre-order. And there'll be pre-agreed 120 units of between it. So 60 of these and 60 of the other. 20 in small, medium, large of the both styles. So that's when they're coming back in. I know you need one because they are flipping beautiful. Rock the Kashrut. Yeah, they are the Metropolitan Smock, just in it. They are flipping beautiful, aren't they? Just a real versatile, lasts you for years, fully waterproof, smart, stylish looking smock. And the Metropolitans will be the first one that have the embroidered logo on the arm, which I think is going to be pretty bloody smart. What we got here? Eating calendar notebook. Love that. One of the lads I used to work with said, "Can I get a calendar?"
Yeah, send us your name and I'll get one.
Yeah, she says she'll get you one. She'll get you one sent out. Okay, cool. Sorry, I just heard the oven going, dinging, so I'm going to wrap it up. But for now, thank you for all of those that have tuned in and listened to me waffle on for 40 minutes. But it is the Wednesday Waffle, so that is the whole intentions. So again, like I've been saying, there is the discount code WELCOME10, which will give you 10% off the whole range for first-time customers. That will be able to be applied the one time. And then I've started getting hold of some of the initial customers who have been championing me right from the beginning, sending them discount codes as a bit of a